The top 10 live albums of the 1970s. A really great decade for hard rock and metal. Tons of great albums to choose from, but I narrowed it down to 10. I will give some honorable mentions after I say my number 2 as usual. And with this list, just to clarify, it's not strictly going to be metal, so some rock stuff is going to be on here too. But yeah, here we go. Starting off the list at number 10 is going to be Foghat Live. Got it right here on vinyl. Came out back in 1977, and Foghat, I really like these guys. Good bluesy hard rock type of stuff, and sometimes they're kind of mislabeled as a band that only has like 2 good songs. I think that's extremely false. Lots of great tunes in their discography, and they had 8 different albums that attained at least gold certification in the United States, so that's pretty impressive if you ask me. This one here was their best selling. It went double platinum. 6 songs on it. Very great performance from everybody in the band on this album. Fool for the City, Slow Ride, I Just Want to Make Love to You, some of their bigger hits that are on this album. Road Fever is a really good song. Honey Hush is a cool cover that they do. But really good overall. Rod Price on guitar, really great bluesy type of player. Does the slide guitar really well. Dave Peverett on vocals does a really nice job. So this is my number 10, Foghat Live. Taking the number 9 spot for me is going to be Survival of the Fittest Live by Ted Nugent and the Amboy Dukes. Have the vinyl record right here. Now, with this album, it came out in 1971, was actually recorded in 1970, so easily the oldest album on the list. And by this point, I think Ted Nugent was starting to find his sound. Like on the first 2 albums, I'm not the biggest fan of. Some pretty good stuff mixed in on Journey to the Center of the Mind in 68. Then on Migration in 69. Started to get a little faster and heavier. Prodigal Man is on that album. It's a really awesome song, which also appears on here. It's an extended version over 20 minutes. Really great musicianship. Some cutting edge stuff from everybody in the band, I think, especially for the time. Some of the most technical and advanced stuff. Ted Nugent has a really great guitar solo in that song. But yeah, they just started to get faster and heavier with this album and the couple before it, but really, really cool album. If you're a fan of Ted Nugent's solo stuff, I don't see why you wouldn't like this. You can definitely hear glimpses of what was to come from him. The feedback he's getting from the guitar, he's starting to like yell a little bit into the microphone like he would do, but just really awesome stuff. Ted Nugent and the Amboy Dukes, Survival of the Fittest Live, number 9. Strangers in the Night by UFO comes in at number 8 for me. I unfortunately do not have a physical copy of this album, but really cool stuff. Came out in 1979, was recorded in 78. Freaking Michael Schenker on lead guitar is a beast. Phil Mogg on vocals does a really good job. Pete Way is on the bass, who he later went on to be in the band Fastway. Just really great lineup here. A lot of great songs, but I'd have to say my favorites are Rock Bottom and Lights Out. Those songs are just really great. But you can't go wrong with anything that Michael Schenker is playing lead guitar on. So, yeah, UFO, Strangers in the Night, number 8. Coming in at number 7 for me is going to be Made in Japan by Deep Purple. Richie Blackmore, great guitarist, amazing guitar solos on Highway Star and Child in Time. All over the album, he's laying down great riffs and solos. Ian Gillan is a really good vocalist. But looking at the track listing, as I said, Child in Time and Highway Star, really great. 2 of their most popular songs. Smoke on the Water obviously is their biggest song of all time. Space Truckin' is another great one. Strange Kind of Lady. Just lots of good stuff all over this album. Very solid, classic, hard rock, on the edge of heavy metal type of stuff. So I'm sure everybody knows Deep Purple, but yeah, Made in Japan, number 7.
At a point below zero, there is no place left to go. 100 unknown heroes kill like sleeping buffalo.
In at number 6 is going to be Live and Dangerous by Thin Lizzy. Came out back in 1978, has 17 songs on it. Of course, there's their two most popular songs, Jailbreak and The Boys Are Back in Town, but it does actually include two of my all-time favorite Thin Lizzy songs, which are Massacre and Suicide. Just really love those songs. Easily my favorites on the album. Phil Lynott is the vocalist, of course, their band leader and bassist. He passed away, unfortunately, back in like 86, I believe, but great guitar work and everything all around on this album. Really good stuff. Live and Dangerous, number 6. Number 5 is going to be Live, Go For What You Know by the Pat Travers Band. Got it here on vinyl. Pat Travers, a really great, underrated guitarist, bluesy, hard rock type of stuff. And on this album and a couple others of his, he actually had Tommy Aldridge doing the drumming. He's a beast, so just this whole album's a really great performance. But some of the highlights I'd probably say are Hooked on Music, Boom Boom, Out Go the Lights. And then the entire second half of the album, side 2, is just really great. Stevie, Making Magic, Heat in the Street, and Makes No Difference. So, a lot of really great stuff on here. If you're a fan of bluesy hard rock, you're going to love this album. Freaking Live, Go For What You Know by Pat Travers, number 5.
I saw him walking on another street, but I could catch it like a crazy dream. I looked twice again and can't believe. I turned around and then I looked at me. I thought I know it really couldn't be. It was a man, it was a woman too.
Tokyo Tapes by Scorpions comes in at number 4 for me. Came out back in 1978. Uli John Roth on guitar is an amazing player. A lot of really great stuff throughout the album from him. Rudolf Schenker is their longtime rhythm guitarist, of course. And Klaus Meine on the lead vocals, who he has one of the best live voices of all time. One of the best voices in general, but his voice sounds really great live to me. And just looking at this track listing, some of my favorites are All Night Long, Pictured Life. My all-time favorite 70s Scorpions song is He's a Woman, She's a Man. Maybe my favorite of all time. That song is just really, really great. But a lot of really good stuff throughout the whole album. Tokyo Tapes by Scorpions, number 4. If You Want Blood, You've Got It by AC/DC comes in at number 3 for me. It came out back in 1978, and AC/DC, just a really great live band. But especially at this point the lineup was Bon Scott on vocals, Malcolm and Angus Young on the guitars, Cliff Williams on bass, and Phil Rudd on drums. Really awesome track listing here, 10 songs. It includes my two favorite AC/DC songs, which are Let There Be Rock and Whole Lotta Rosie. But some other great ones, just looking down here at this, like Riff Raff, Bad Boy Boogie, Problem Child. Really, really great stuff all throughout the whole album. So number 3 for me is going to be If You Want Blood, You've Got It by AC/DC.
Whiskey woman, don't you know that you are driving me insane?
Unleashed in the East by Judas Priest comes in at number 2 for me. It came out back in 1979. Got a vinyl record copy of it right here. Great picture on the front there, and a really great picture on the back as well. Super cool stuff. The lineup is incredible, of course. Freaking Rob Halford on vocals. This is a really great performance by him. Ian Hill on bass, Les Binks on the drums, and then the guitar duo of KK Downing and Glenn Tipton. One of the best of all time. But this has 9 songs on it. There's the 2 cover songs that they would usually do back then, the Green Menalishi and Diamonds and Rust, which I think Judas Priest made both of those songs a lot better than they originally were. And then there's 7 original songs on here: Exciter, Running Wild, Sinner, The Ripper, Genocide, Tyrant, and Victim of Changes. Lots of really good stuff. And about these songs, I'll say real quick, I definitely prefer the live versions from this album over the original studio versions. That's just me, though. Maybe you guys agree, or maybe you don't. But freaking Unleashed in the East by Judas Priest in at number 2 for me. And before I get to number 1, I'll give a couple honorable mentions. The Song Remains the Same by Led Zeppelin was a pretty good, close one. Of course, Kiss Alive, the first one, and Kiss Alive 2. Both good. I don't love them quite as much as a lot of people do, but I do respect their influence. Gonna give them an honorable mention. Pretty close to making it, though. Kiss Alive 1 and 2. That's really all I have for honorable mentions. So, on to number 1. Double Live Gonzo by Ted Nugent comes in at number 1. There was really no doubt about it for me. The rest of this list was kind of hard to put together, but without question, this is my number 1. Got the vinyl right here. It's got a cool gatefold opening with a lot of good pictures on the inside. Came out back in '78, and it was his 4th album, his 4th solo album overall. The first 3 studio albums were the self-titled, which I have on the wall right there, Free For All, and Cat Scratch Fever. Those all went at least double platinum. This album went triple platinum. I think people tend to forget how popular and great Ted Nugent was back in the 70s. Tons of really good albums and songs. This album is stacked with great songs. Just What the Doctor Ordered, Wang Dang Sweet Poontang, Cat Scratch Fever, Stormtroopin', Hibernation, Motor City Madhouse, Stranglehold, Gonzo, Baby Please Don't Go, Yank Me Crank Me, and Great White Buffalo. Personally, I think Stranglehold is the greatest rock song of all time. It's got everything you could want. The opening riff, that's amazing. Great bass from Rob Grange. Great drumming from Cliff Davies. Great vocals from Derek St. Holmes. Amazing guitar solo a couple minutes in by Ted Nugent. So, and Baby Please Don't Go on this album. A lot of people have done that song as a cover. It's like an old bluesy song from like whenever, the 20s or 30s. Lots of bands have covered that. I think this is probably the best cover version of that song. But yes, love this album. It was the first one I got on vinyl. Huge Ted Nugent fan, so there was never a doubt. This is my number 1, Double Live Gonzo from 1978, right here. So, that was my picks for the 10 best live albums of the 70s. Of course, everybody's going to have different opinions. You can let me know what you thought and give me your ranking in the comments. And until next time, thank you for watching.